Hello pilots and welcome back to another X-Wing flight video brought to you by Out of Arc Gaming. As always, my name is Phil, and today we have the second part of our Aces High duo with the medium-based ships this time. And joining me to go through this utter carnage is...
Hi guys, it's Amy. It's great to be back.
Hi Amy, welcome back. Brought something very different for you. I know, as we've already discussed, you haven't played Aces High before, but you need to get on that. I'm not going to lie. It's absolutely hilarious. What we'll do, we'll go through what people are bringing to the table, and then we will have a look at exactly how Aces High works as well for you. So, firstly, let's run through those lists. So I'm going to go down the left-hand side, and Amy will go down the right-hand side. So, starting us off, we have myself with Miranda Donny in the K-Wing, because we know that I'm a massive fan of the K-Wing. We have barrage rockets, veteran turret gunner, perceptive co-pilot, thermal detonators, and shield upgrade. We have Madbots with the U-Wing in Magva Yaro, with Lone Wolf, perceptive co-pilot, Jin Urso, shield upgrade, pivot wing, and the false transponder codes. And we also have Connor with Nora Wexley in the Rebel Arc, again with Lone Wolf, K2SO, suppressive gunner, and shield upgrade. And we've also got, rounding off the left-hand side, Jamie with Major Vermeil in the Reaper, with Intimidation, Seventh Sister, and Darth Vader. And breathe, because there's a lot to go through there. So your turn to run out of breath, Amy. What have we got down the right-hand side?
So we have got Rich fielding the IG-88C with Duke, passive sensors, and electronic baffle. We have got Quinn fielding IG-88B with Lone Wolf, Synced laser cannons, and Deadman Switch, one of my absolute favourite illicit cards. Ben is with the Mist Hunter, fielding Forlom with Elusive, Advanced Sensors, L337, Contraband, Cybernetics, Shield Upgrade, and the Mist Hunter title. And then we've got Wes in the, is it the Scourge Bomber?
Yep.
Is that, yeah, it's been so long since I've played Scum. With Captain Nim, Outmaneuver, Dorsal Turret, Cad Bane, Dengar, Proximity Mines, Seismic Charges, and a Shield Upgrade. And breathe.
Yeah, there is a lot to go through there. So, yeah, I mean, it's just going to be absolute carnage, as we saw with the small base ship the other day. Now, again, this one's all mediums, 75 points. Just to run through for those of you that have not played Aces High before and how the scoring works on there. So you score a point for the first point of damage caused to any ship that you are shooting at. So, for instance, if Jamie with Major Vermeil was to take a point off of Nora Wexley, Jamie would get a point, and that would go down by his ship cards. Now, if you kill a ship, you then get 2 points, which again go down by your ship card. And your ship also gets a bounty token, which sticks around with you until the end of the game. Now, if you were to take out a ship with that bounty token, you then collect that point as well, and then get the bounty token on your ship. Aim of the game is to be the first player with 6 points on your ship card. Once someone hits 6 points, or it's been going on that long that everyone is bored and decides to call it, you then add any bounty tokens from your ship to your pile, and the person with the most points wins. Nice and simple. Oh, and another thing, when you die, you come back, which is always good fun. So just because your ship's down, you are not out. So, a lot to think about, but it is an absolutely hilarious game type, and if you haven't played Aces High, I do highly recommend it. And I know it does kind of look like it's Scum versus everyone at the moment with the way the board is laid out, but I do anticipate we'll see some quite interesting shenanigans, especially as we have 4 ships in quite close proximity to each other down at the bottom of the board there.
I just can't get over how many ships are on this one 3x3 board.
Yeah, I mean, it is crazy. I mean, when you think about it, you probably see more than you could see more than this if you had a regular game, but probably not in this many medium-based ships. So, I mean, it is just absolutely crazy. And again, we're seeing a lot of scum ships here, but I think scum is probably the most favoured of the medium-based variety. I think the only medium-based ship we aren't seeing, well, there's two medium-based ships from scum we're not seeing here, which is the Fire Spray, and that's because to get a decent one, it's more than 75 points, and we don't actually see the Kimagila.
Yeah, the Kimagila.
And yes, that is Nora Wexley managing not to bump there on Miranda Donny.
Very close.
And obviously, we're not seeing anything from Separatists. They only have the one medium base, which is the Slave 1. The G class, although hilarious, probably not the best for this type of game. And again, I'm not sure how well the LA-80 would do either, to be honest.
What about the the Punisher bomber? Is that medium base now?
Yeah, the Punisher is, and I've done the Punisher before, and it is good fun. Just as a point of interest, Jamie does have his first point. He Darth Vader'd me. So, cheeky scumbag already stole a point off me with Vader. Yeah, so the Punisher is actually pretty good fun in Aces High as well, actually. And I can also imagine the TIE Brute would be quite fun, but to be honest, I really wanted to fly the K-Wing again because I'm a big fan of the K-Wing. As to how well it does, I don't know. I've already lost 2 shields so far, and that was only the first attack, so...
Ouch.
Now, obviously, we did this again before RPO actually started, so with any initiative clashes, we actually rolled a d6 to determine the order of who was going in what particular order, and just stuck with that for the whole game. It was crazy enough having to try and remember who was going in what order, let alone having to shuffle that initiative the whole way through. Because I'm not entirely sure RPO was designed for Aces High, to be honest.
No.
But as you can see, a lot of dice being thrown around early on. We've got multiple little skirmishes there. We've got the U-Wing versus the Skirg on the right-hand side, one aggressor versus the Mist Hunter up on the left-hand side, and that is in fact Rich taking a shot there at the Ark and scoring a point there. Wes has already got a point off of Madbots. Some close-range shenanigans in there. So just debating who is the best target there. But yeah, it's quite an interesting one because obviously in a normal game, you'd probably be looking at going, right, who's taken damage? All right, I'll start railing it on them. But early on in this, you're looking at who hasn't taken damage. I want to get some points off them first.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like so, scoring some good points there on Nora, despite her ability to get that free evade, which is just rude on an Arc. And a Y-Wing, actually. She has the same ability. But what do you think you'd bring to this if you were doing an Aces High? So bearing in mind, for this, you were given 75 points, had to be a medium-based ship.
I'd say the TIE Brute or the Reaper.
I think the Reaper for me was a surprising choice. I like it, but it was surprising. But it's fairly maneuverable when you add the fact that it's got the ailerons on there, and when you can put crew on there, Invader and Seventh Sister. It's got a fair amount of utility, and whacking intimidation on there is, I think, a really good idea when you've got this many medium bases flying around.
Oh, yes.
So I know we asked this obviously in the small base game, but if any of our viewers has any suggestions on what they would fly in a 75-point medium list build, drop it in the comments below, because we'd be really interested to see what you would fly. You never know, if we do this again in the future, might actually take your suggestion on board. That looks like the Mist Hunter shooting into Quinn's grey IG-88 at the top there. No damage this time. But already in comparison to the small-based game, a lot of points already being doled out early on. Oh, and that is a big hit there.
Oh.
And that is Madbots versus Nim there. So yeah, a lot of points already on the board there. I mean, what are your first impressions so far of Aces Higher Than Alien? Like, again, I think we discussed it just before the video. You've not played it before, but what was when you first saw the board? What were your thoughts?
I think you're on mental.
I mean, you're not far wrong, to be honest.
It's definitely a very busy board. I mean, Aces High, it's not something we've been able to arrange at our local club. I don't think there's enough of us on our X-Wing nights to be able to arrange it. But it's just utter madness. I like it.
I mean, with the medium bases, it takes up a lot more room on the board than the small base version. And what's kind of crazy is you see all the hyperspace markers dotted around the board, and you have to get out of your head that they are not obstructions and that you can fly over them. The amount of times we went to fly past it, and we're like, oh no, that's an obstacle. Oh no, it's not an obstacle. We can fly past that. It doesn't grant any benefits to like defense. But yeah, it's just so much fun. And at first, it takes a bit of getting used to, but once you've got your head around what is happening, you just sort of get in the flow of it. You're like, yep, you know what, I've got this now. And it is just generally absolutely hilarious.
It's definitely on my list of game types to play. Definitely. I mean, I would also like to have a go at the Mario Kart version. It's just getting it organised.
Yeah. I think the Mario Kart version, again, I've seen it done a few times. I've not actually had a chance to play it yet, but it does look really good fun. Another style of sort of Aces High that we have played before was a Hunger Games version, where you actually get random upgrades in the center of the board, and you tend to fly with generic versions of the ships, and then as you're flying around, you pick up these upgrades. So I mean, you could end up having a ship with upgrades that it doesn't normally get. So one moment you've got a TIE Reaper, next thing you've got a TIE Reaper with dorsal turrets. So really crazy stuff like that. So there's so many different variations you can add to this to make it even more fun. But at the moment, I don't know how much more fun you need than this, because we've now got bombs galore dropping, and it's just so tight everywhere. It's going to be hard for people to find some space to get their ships around.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of bumping absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, because the big difference with this is normally you'd have an idea of how roughly where half of the ships are going to go. And ideally, you could probably plan accordingly to that. But as Quinn will probably tell you, sometimes you forget that other ships still have to move. But with this, you only have one dial, and there's 7 other dials you've got to try and contend with. And it does make it a lot trickier than you actually think. But again, I can't stress this enough. It was just so much fun. I've
just had a thought, actually. The TIE the Thai RB.
Yeah. I reckon that could be good fun in this.
Yeah, I'm just having a look on the app now to see what I could do with it. So, because of course it's got the turret and the rotating cannons.
Plus, it's got some great abilities on there as well.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Litendre. So, while a friendly ship at range 0 to 2 performs an attack, if you're in the defender's side arcs, the attacker may re-roll 1 attack die. Oh, no, that's friendly. Of course, I completely forget that I'm on my own. There's no one else with you.
You'd be better off taking Rampage. And when you've got 75 points just to stack on Rampage, there's a lot you can do there.
Yeah, let me have a look at Rampage. So, yeah, because you can dish out the strain. No. Let's do that. Ooh. Yeah, because you could put the maneuver assist on there to reduce the difficulty of your three straight speed and bank maneuvers. That is going to be massively helpful in a very busy board like this.
Yeah. I mean, I've just looked to try and stack up a Rampage quite heavily, and it's still only 57 points. So, yeah, it's quite tricky to... Some of the ships, you've got to take into account the points value, and even when you're putting a load of things on there, it can be quite heavy. I just want to point out that was a really unfortunate bump there for Miranda, in that, well, she's probably going to bomb herself right now. And she's not in a healthy position at the moment. And yet, here come the bomb rolls in the dice tray. There's a nice bit of damage. And in typical fashion, Connor rolls it, gets nothing. And I cause damage on the second bomb to myself as well. And Connor is absolutely fine. Yeah, so despite there being 8 players on the board, you can still get through the phases quite quickly in the game. Yeah, there's a lot more damage coming into Miranda there for the rear gun of Nora. Still building that list there, Amy?
Just finished it, actually.
How many points did you manage to get up to with Rampage?
60.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I put iron cannons and auto blasters, maneuver assist, hull upgrade, shield upgrade, and lone wolf.
See, I went with a slightly different build.
What did you go for?
I went heavy laser cannon, auto blasters, target assist, hull upgrade, shield upgrade, and expert handling, because I didn't want to have any red actions. And I think watching a Thai brute barrel roll is hilarious. Now, disappointingly, Miranda's guns are left to right at the moment, so can't get a double tap with veteran turret gunner between IG-88C and Nora. And Wes has also already stolen the points on Vermeil, so still scrabbling around to try and get my first points on the board, and Wes is already there on 2. Those scum ships are just greedy when they want to be. Oh, that's a big hit into Miranda. Although I did take a reduced shot to get a shield back. Not that it's going to help here. Bye-bye, Miranda. So a nice early 3-point lead there for Rich, with his little bounty token there as well. So kind of putting a bullseye on Rich there to try and take him out. Not that anyone's got range on him or arc.
I'd say it's pretty safe for the moment.
I mean, I know we obviously see 2 of them on the board, but I think that the IGs are a good shout because they've got a lot of health, they're pretty darn maneuverable, and they have some good green dice as well. I mean, you look at it, it's 3 red, 3 green, 5 health, 3 shields, a lot of blues, and a cheeky sloop in there as well, so...
Let's see what else. What other ones we got? So there is. Let's have a look at the Punisher. I'd say if you were to take the Punisher in, maybe Redline, just to have those multiple target locks everywhere.
I'd be tempted by Death Rain with the action after dropping or launching, because I think that's actually quite a powerful ability. So you can drop a bomb and then do a boost, or you do a boost target lock, knowing that you've dialed in a blue, and then you clear your stress. But I think Redline or Death Rain are both good shouts, to be honest. They are both strong ships. And again, I love the Punisher. Like it was one of the first medium-sized ships I purchased in first edition, and seeing that on a small base back in first edition was hilarious. Didn't make any sense, but it was hilarious.
It was such a good ship. Well, it was, it still is an amazingly good ship.
I mean, I do have a list that has 2 Punishers and a TIE Brute in it. And it's fun.
I need to revamp some of my bomber squads, because I've got one at the moment which I've still got to fly. And it's a Punisher with 2 bombers behind, so it is literally just bombs going absolutely everywhere.
No, that is good. I've flown my 4 bomber list, and that was good fun. And I did manage to fly my double Punisher Brute list as well. But as we we're saying there, so I'm back on the board with full health and all of my charges back, which is quite nice as a benefit for dying and coming back and dropping some thermal detonators right in there. Although I did forget one key thing when placing my ship back down, and that is pay attention to what other ships are there and what other ships can do. What do you think I missed with a Skurg being right behind me?
Where's the Skurg gone?
Bearing in mind we're facing the opposite directions.
Oh, the Skurg's got a rear arc, hasn't it?
Yeah, and proximity mines that has just dropped on me and immediately damaged me. So I've basically just given Wes 3 points there because I wasn't paying attention. So tip, when you go down, pay attention to what other ships are about and what they can do.
Oh, I feel so bad for laughing, but that is actually hilarious.
I mean, during the game, Krim was like, "Are you sure you want to go there?" I was like, yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be absolutely fine. I put it there and he went, "You've got a bomber behind you." And I was like, "Oh, no, I completely forgot about that." And it wasn't like I could avoid it either, because it's being a mine, it goes off straight away. And I was like, oh, I'm such an idiot. And this is why I never seem to score very well in Aces High.
I love proximity mines.
Yeah, despite my interceptor surviving till pretty much the end of the last game on 1 health, I still didn't score any points. So maybe I can avenge myself and get a point in this game. But as you can see, everything's moving up towards the middle of the board now, and it's going to get quite chaotic in there. I don't know. There's looking like not a lot of space for things to move into. I mean, we did joke about doing a large base Aces High, but I'm not sure how well that would actually go down. Given the way points are scored on there, it would take a long time to score said points. And also, I don't think you'd have enough room on the board for 8 large base ships.
Especially if everyone's bringing those really chunky ghosts.
Yeah.
I mean, suppose if you're taking a decimator like Oiken, he's going to be absolutely loving it.
Oh, I mean,
all those bumps and still being able to shoot. I'd be in heaven.
I would absolutely be taking Oiken. He would be my number 1 choice. I'd just be like, yep, I'll take Oiken, and I'll add Intimidation, obviously. And just
Dauntless.
Absolutely. Yeah, Dauntless, Intimidation, the works. Go for it.
Vader, 5th brother. Oh, a lot.
Maybe whack a veteran turret gunner on there just for fun so you can shoot out both sides.
I want to get my decimators out now.
Yeah, I do like the decimator. It is pretty cool. I mean, I think we've discussed this a few times. There's not many ships that I'm not a fan of. And I think I've flown pretty much all of them now. At least all the ones I have. So I finally got around to flying all of my, all the different versions of ships that I have for Separatists now, except for the Nantex. It's the only one I haven't flown yet.
Yeah, I've not got that one yet. I've still got quite a few of the Separatist ones to get, so I've still got to get the Nantex. I've still got to get the Hyena Bomber. Still got to get the giant squid one, the Trident. Yeah,
the Trident is so cool, and it's much bigger than you expect as well. It is absolutely massive. So yeah, its stat line is still very much in line with the Sea Rock. But it is a really cool ship. And the Hyena is really good fun, actually.
Yeah, I love the... I'm desperately waiting for them to bring out the Bellabub as a single pack ship instead of having to buy another pack of Servants of Strife, because I love the Bellabub.
I mean, I think with Servants of Strife, because it's got the 2 Vulture droids in it, I don't think it's too bad. I mean, yes, it would be nice if you could get the Bellabub separately, but because you get the 2 Vultures in it, I think, considering how many of those you normally need, I mean, I only have 4 Vultures, and despite not really flying Separatists much or many Swarms, I still kind of think I could do one or two more Vultures, and then do like the classic Vultures, cheap Belbelub with Kraken list. The one that I think is a bit silly is that the V19 isn't also in a single pack, because that's one that I think is you're more likely to want to have like an odd number of V19s. But yeah, the Belbelub and the V19 coming out as a separate pack, I think would be a good idea. As to what they would put in there to make it like different, to add like new ships. I mean, if you look at it, we said that the Vulture and the Delta 7 had different pilots in the pack, so maybe they could introduce some new pilots when they do it as well.
Yeah. Maybe a different paint job or something, I don't know, but...
Yeah. But I mean, it'd be cool.
Yeah. It would be good. I mean, I've got nothing against buying another Servants of Strife, but I've already got 10 droids, so I kind of don't want to make it 12.
Wait, so is that 10 Vulture droids?
Yeah.
Okay. That's crazy.
Fantastic.
I mean,
I know you can only field 8 of them, but
I was going to say, I mean, do you play much Epic? Because you can get up to 12 in Epic.
yeah, I've played Epic.
And that's a big death there for
Ouch.
Wes. That's a lot of crits in there as well. That will be all thanks to the Hull Breach as the first crit he got there. But luckily for Wes, he can pack all those cards up, stick them at the bottom of his deck, and come back in a minute.
Yeah. Love Hull Breach. Dishing it out, not.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you said you love Hull Breach as a crit you get, I'd be there like, are we playing the right game here? The idea is not to suffer damage, it's to cause it. But yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. There are some crits which you get and you're like, you know what, I'm kind of okay with that. Like Panic Pilot, yeah, right, you get the 2 stress, but could be worse. Console Fire, frustrating, but Hull Breach, Fuel Leak, Direct Hit, Structural Damage, Weapons Failure, they're the ones that I don't like.
No.
So we do have, as I said, our second death of the game. I think that's what makes medium ships quite fun, is although they've got more hull, they tend to have less green dice, so they go down a bit quicker. Like the small base ships, they can be a lot squirrelier.
Yeah, especially if you're taking TIE fighters and really manoeuvrable little ships like A-Wings.
Yeah, I mean, we had both variants of the A-Wing and the small base. We had a TIE FO. We had the Whisper. We had an Interceptor. We had a Belbelub.
Yes.
And the odd one of the pack was we had the BTL-B Y-Wing from the Republic, which did remarkably well. And if you haven't watched the small base version yet, I definitely recommend that. You'll see a card up in the top corner to go back and check that out. But it's remarkable. You take off one ship off the board and suddenly it just looks a lot emptier.
Yeah, it definitely does. Imagine how how satisfying it would be if it was a large ship's aces high.
Oh.
How satisfying it would be just taking off that one ship.
I mean, I'm not sure. Are you trying to talk us into it? Because it's something we're debating. Might have to do it. 100 points, large base ship only. 100 points be enough? Yeah, 100 points should be enough. Yeah. That way you can't go too crazy.
Yeah, but let's have a look. I'm going to have a look at an Oicon.
Yeah. Because the thing is, you don't want it too crazy. I mean, that's why we had the points limit. Like with the small base ship, we had 50 points. That way you weren't going to see any Fen Raos, you weren't going to see any Kylos, any Vaders, because they could just be a bit crazy. Medium base, 75 points. Again, quite good. You're not going to see your Boba Fett's in there. Anything like super OP, which is basically a medium base ship, Boba Fett. Right, whilst they're getting set up for the next round and Wes is finding out where he's going back on the board, just want to remind everyone that if you do like what we are doing here at Out of Arc Gaming, that you can support us on Patreon with the link in the description below. You can support us for as little as £2 a month. As I said last time, if you're feeling quite spicy, you can support us for £6 a month, and you can actually tell us exactly what we have to fly on the channel at some point. So, link is in the description below for that.
Yep, I've just had a look. So for 99 points, if you were to do the 100 points large ship base, so you can get Oicon with Darth Vader, Veteran Turret Gunner, Intimidation, Dauntless, 99 points.
Nice. I like it. I like it already. Oh, and there is a lot of thermal detonators going down there. Good luck getting past all of that, Quinn. This is just what, again, something else, especially the medium base. So many ships have the options for bombs in the medium base that you can just get. I mean, 4 thermal detonators right there. It's a beautiful sight, unless you're flying towards it. Just imagining, sorry, I just keep going back to imagining how a large base is. It's like, I don't think you'd be able to do 8 players. I don't think there'd be enough room on the board for 8 players. Because with the setup, obviously you can set up anywhere along the outside at range 1 for the edge of the board, but you still need to set up at least range 2 from your opponents. So you'd almost have to have someone set up in each corner and then at the center point of the thing. Otherwise, if someone sets it up just right, you wouldn't be able to fit everyone in.
Unless you do it on an epic map, but do it long ways instead of along the long edge of the map and not the short edge. Do you know what I mean?
You could do, but I think that would add too much space. It's a fine line. I might have to get my mat out and just have a look and see how plausible it is. Do I have 8 large base ships? Hold on. Yes, I do have 8 large base ships. Sorry, I have more than that.
I love how you're turning around and counting them all.
And I'm having to remember the ones that aren't up there. I think I've got about 14 large base ships. So yeah, I can definitely plot that out. Yeah, I mean, they're all literally on the wall behind me, apart from the few that are still in cases. So I think I've got about 75 ships on the wall there. Maybe 80. So that means the other 70 odd are in cases. Like watching where all the ships are as well, it's almost like watching the tide moving them, because they sort of started very much like a big cluster down the bottom, then it was sort of in the middle, and now it's all clustered towards that top right hand side. Like in the small base, it was a lot faster with the movements. You'd see ships getting all over the place, but here they're very much just sort of like moving all in the same direction, trying to score as many points off each other. And right now, the prime targets for points would be Wes, the Quinn's IG-88B, as they're the only ones that haven't taken damage yet. And then to actually score kills, probably looking at Forlom and Major Vermeil, because they're the lowest. But also in a fairly good position to stay out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, Darth Vader is a very interesting choice to have in there. He's obviously a lot of points, but that instant remove a token or take a damage, it is very powerful. Oh, there's a bump there from Wes onto Magva. So what's quite interesting there is looking at the points. Obviously, Rich and Wes are both on 3 points apiece. And Rich has actually managed to get a kill, but Wes is literally just one-shotting, like one-pointing different players and racking up those points. So there's definitely there's two varying ways of playing this. You can either just try and get those quick shots in, or you could obviously try and hone down an opponent to really take advantage of the damage they're suffering. So yeah, plethora of bombs dropped and going off there. Taken some damage on Quinn. I got a point. I got a point, which means I've done infinitely better than I did in the last game for scoring. I mean, maybe bringing a K-Wing for this was optimistic, shall we say, but hey, who cares? The K-Wing is a cool ship, and I dare anyone to fight me over that.
Can you remember one of our previous commentaries?
Exactly. I mean, imagine that meme with the guy sat at the table. It's like, I believe this, fight me over it. That's me with the K-Wing. It's a cool ship. It looks great. It could do with a few tweaks, maybe a config card, a new pilot, a talent on Miranda. I don't know, but I still think it's cool.
I don't dislike the K-Wing. It is a good ship. I think it's not my most favourite.
Yeah.
It's like it's right at the bottom of the rankings.
I mean,
and it's only because of its flat head. It reminds me of Looney Tunes so much, with Coyote running after the Roadrunner and getting an anvil dropped on his head. And then it's flat, like the K-Wing.
Well, there's an alternate paint job or mod for someone to do then. Either paint it as Wile E. Coyote or just mod an anvil on its head. But I mean, the K-Wing is, for me, the K-Wing is like the Punisher. When I saw those two ships, I was very early into playing X-Wing. I saw those two ships and went, I need to own both of those because they both look so cool. And I hadn't seen them before. And I was just like, they're cool. I must own.
Yeah.
So, and now I have 3 K-Wings and 2 Punishers. So I definitely managed to satisfy that niche.
We just need the Thai Doritos come out now.
Yeah.
I can have my nacho squad.
1 red, 1 blue, 1 orange, right?
Yeah.
And then if you get a 4th one, would you do the jalapeno flavour?
Wasn't my favourite.
I mean, to be honest, I'm really excited for the Razor Crest. You never know, maybe next time we do a medium Aces High, we'll see the Razor Crest in there.
Ooh.
And then we've got the Gauntlet as well, which we still need to see. AMG, can we see the model for the Gauntlet, please? I mean, you've told us that the wings will go up. I want to see it. I need to see it. And also, can you have it next to another ship so I can see the size? You've told us it's massive. You've told us it's almost an epic ship. Please, just early Christmas present. We'll be super good. We'll go to bed nicely and we'll wait for it. Just please let us see it. Yeah, I mean, there's still a few ships that we need to see. As I said, the Thai Dorito is the main one. A large base ship for Republic. There's still some other cool ships for Republic and Resistance and Separatists. Will we see more ships crossing the divide as well, like the Fang Fighter is going to?
Yeah.
I mean, what other ships could we possibly see cross the divide? If we're getting Fen Rao in the Fang Fighter in the Rebellion, will we see Poe Dameron in the Thai SF in the Resistance?
Yes.
Because it's in canon. Will we also see a Finn and Rose in a G-Class shuttle? A very badly damaged G-Class shuttle, potentially. But there's a lot of scope there, considering FFG sort of went away from that with Nim and Slave One not being in the Empire faction. Going back towards that, it is interesting, but I do kind of feel that it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're not going to please everybody with it, but I'd be pleased with it.
Yeah.
It's like we've got Sabine's tie.
Yeah.
I'm not a Rebels player, but that ship looks cool.
Oh, it really does. It is a cool looking ship. And I love the fact that just like in the show, if you catch it from the right angle, it looks like a normal TIE fighter. But when you sort of see the internal like paneling, suddenly you're like, actually, there's something different about that. I mean, you mentioned about you're not going to please everyone, and I'm always a bit hesitant to address this, but I know there's been a lot of negativity within the community about some of the recent updates that AMG are doing in relation to RPO and other proposed changes there. But in the long run, I think what we all need to do is just remember that no matter what happens, we can, if we're doing a casual game, we can always play it however we want. As long as you are having fun whilst playing the game, that is the main thing. I mean, I've had a chance to try the RPO rules out, and you know what? They're different. They're a little bit complicated at times, but they make it absolutely hilarious. It adds an extra element to your game that makes it just that little bit trickier. And do you want a game that you're going to try and play in the long run to be easy, or do you want it to be fun? And I found that the RPO rules actually made it kind of fun. But anyway, that's my piece over. I don't want to dwell on that too much. Let's have a look back at what is happening on the table. And surprise, surprise, Wes is dropping more bombs all over the place. He's setting up an interesting line of bombs there with his thermal detonator and his proximity mine. And a cheeky advanced sensors barrel roll there from Forlon. Tell you what, the Mist Hunter is surprisingly maneuverable. Like being able to do a barrel roll and then a one hard straight off that whilst using contraband cybernetics is just mental.
It's brilliant.
And obviously Ben's got a slightly modified Mist Hunter there. Someone has brutalised a K-Wing and stolen its wings and chucked it onto the Mist Hunter. So RIP to that K-Wing.
Looks cool though.
Yeah, Ben, if you have the remains of that K-Wing, I'll take it off your hands and try and repair it as best I can. But yeah, it does look really cool. It's really fitting. It gives it that sort of like real-world military look to it. Like an old 1950s bomber.
Yeah, it's like something I've seen when it's back home and went to the Smithsonian. I can just see it there.
I mean, saying that, if you go to the Smithsonian, you'll actually see that. I know they're doing up an X-Wing, so
yeah,
perfectly keeping.
And they are, both Smithsonians are within driving distance of home. So if I was to go to New York and go onto the Intrepid, obviously there's some great ships on there. It's where we got engaged. And the other one is in Chantilly, Virginia. It's about two hours drive. But it's quite easy enough to do on the interstate. I'm pretty sure that is where the X-Wing's going to go when it's built to scale.
I mean,
I love going there.
I mean, I would love to. It'd be pretty cool.
It is fantastic. You know the like my favourite jet. You can definitely tell I'm an engineer's daughter, but is the SR-71 Blackbird.
Oh, I do love Blackbird.
Oh, it is fantastic. It is my absolute favourite. It looks so sexy, but the one that is in Chantilly at the Smithsonian is the one that they used in Transformers.
Oh, really? That's pretty cool. See, my oldest, he loves that plane as well. He's absolutely obsessed with playing like war video games and stuff like that, with especially anything where he gets to fly jets and helicopters are his absolute favourites at the moment. So he loves that. And again, he enjoys playing X-Wing with me as well. Not as often as we'd like, but he enjoys it and he loves playing with all the ships. So it is great. It's something that he loves getting involved with.
Dan likes watching X-Wing. I'm still got to get him to play some games with me.
Well, as long as you subscribe to the channel, he'll get to watch as much X-Wing as he likes and hopefully learn a few things out of it as well. Like what happens when a Skirg bumps into a U-Wing whilst being potentially in range of a Reaper.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's getting very, very tight up in that top central area there. Oh, that's an interesting move. Does that squeak through? If it does, Connor's in a bad position with that Mist Hunter right there. Oh, no, it doesn't squeak through. I actually think that that's pretty lucky there for Connor, because he probably would not wanted to have been in range one of that Mist Hunter. And he has the rear arc, so it doesn't matter. So he can still shoot out the back if he wants. And I'm just looking at the current points, and it looks like the only first shot points still available at the moment is Wes and Ben, having both recently come back onto the board. And now it's just Ben, because Jamie has vaded another point for himself. He could potentially win the game by only vadering people and not actually having shot them.
This is why I love Vader. He's just brilliant.
I think that I like what they've done with the Vader card as opposed to first edition. Especially because in first edition, when you vaded someone, you hurt yourself to do it. I just remembered another card from first edition that was pretty cool. Do you remember the Rebel Captive card?
Oh, that was a good card.
So when you shot at that ship, they got a stress token for doing it. That was cool. They should bring that back.
Just stress everywhere. It was fantastic.
I can imagine it would only... I reckon if they did it, it could only work against Rebels and Resistance, potentially. But that was a cool card. I've seen quite a lot recently on like the groups with people mentioning old cards, and I can see the reason why some of them haven't come back. Twin laser turrets, harpoon missiles, etc. But some of them I think would be quite viable to come back. Rebel Captive would be quite a cool one.
Yeah, I would like to see that come back. And TLT.
I'm actually kind of okay with TLT not coming back. Although I thought TLT was pretty cool at the time, now I look back at it, I think actually it was pretty broken. Like just... I mean, you've got things that do similar. I mean, if you look at it, you've got Veteran Turret Gunner, which is similar if you have like a 2-turret arc. So on my K-Wing or on the Falcon or the Decimator, but you can't double tap the same ship, which I think that's where TLT became very powerful, because you had 4 Y-Wings with TLT just going up to a large base ship and going, I'm just going to shoot you 1,000,000 times. And it wasn't fun. So, I mean, at the time, yeah, if you were the one flying it, it was probably pretty cool, but I think it's a good job. If they were to bring it down, if they were to bring it back, they would have to do something different with it.
Yeah.
So, and I think we've got... I was about to say we've got better turrets. We've already got 2 turrets, which is dorsal and ion turret, but we've got some good cannons at the moment. Sync laser cannon is pretty cool.
So my favourite is still heavy laser cannon. Always will be. I think it sucks that it is now 4 dice, but it has to be within your direct arc.
4 dice in the bullseye, range 2 to 3. I'm okay with that again. You think heavy laser cannon in first edition was really expensive. It was a really expensive card. Again, because it was so powerful. But now having it only in the bullseye arc, it makes sense because obviously if you're going to have a heavy cannon like that, it's going to have to be sort of like almost really bolted down, really secure if it's going to be that powerful, and to make it so that you actually have to be quite confident with flying that to actually pull it off. Again, it's another really good thing.
Yeah. I guess I just miss having the wider arc on it.
Yeah. And then again, there's a lot of things which have done that in second edition. You look at Crackshot, Predator, those are now only in the bullseye, which again, I kind of like that.
Because it adds a little bit more challenge.
Yeah.
To flying. Okay.
And to be honest, it's not actually, like, I've found it's, although it can be challenging to get that bullseye, I find you get it more often than you don't. So, like, it can be done, clearly. Otherwise, Predators, that would be 0 points because they'd be like, well, you very rarely get bullseye. You may as well have it for free. Oh, that's a really strong attack there from Mark. And that's just wiped Vermeil off the board there.
Ouch.
Mark making a name for himself there, scoring lots of points. He's now currently on 5. Potentially 1 away from stealing the win. So again, this does set up Jamie to come back in potentially quite an advantageous position. He gets to obviously choose where he comes in. Still got to, although when you do come in, you've got to think, obviously looking at one of the markers, that's definitely a no-go to come back in there with a prox mine on there and a thermal detonator. You probably don't want to be coming in back there. Especially if you come back and they'd be suffering potentially 2 prox mines, as Wes has once again dropped another bomb right in the middle of the table, trying to create a cluster of prox mines there. So who is going to fly over that first? Connor, Ben, or potentially Quinn? Because there's no way all 3 of those can avoid that. Something's got to go over that. If it doesn't, it's almost disappointing. Right, let's see what's Ben got up his sleeve. Will he try and contraband to... Oh, 1 hard. Will it fit? Oh, and it does.
Oh, that's sneaky.
That is sneaky.
I like that. Sneaky, and I like it.
Yeah, that is pretty impressive there. Okay, so now will Connor be able to avoid that? Has Quinn realised that they've got those bombs there? Where is he going? Oh, he's just going straight, so bumping into the U-wing there. Nearly called it a Y-wing just because of the shape of it. So it looks like Mark might not get a shot depending on where everything ends up. Nice ailerons there from Vermeil. I think, again, with the Reaper, that's something you've got to try and remember, is you've got that essentially free boost in there, but that, although it sounds like a great thing, it's not always the best thing sometimes, because that can really put you in interesting positions that you don't quite necessarily want to be in.
No.
I mean, people that fly like multiple strikers, I have to say fair play to them, because that requires an extra level of thinking. I normally like to do my boost after I've moved, not before. And that's an interesting position. They're K-Wing versus IG. Oh, that's a right little cluster at the top there now. Lots of ships. Oh, where's Connor going? Oh, he's turning the other way, so avoiding those bombs, but not avoiding the bump. Now let's see. Where are points currently available? So as I said, Ben's still fully healthy. Jamie with Vermeil is now full health again. So let's see who's going to steal those points. Connor aiming for them. Or go back in. Oh, you definitely got to go for Vermeil, see if we can get that first point, right?
Yeah.
No, it looks like going for Rich there instead, I think. And nothing, no damage there. I mean, the IGs, they've just been solid this whole game. They've not taken a lot of damage at all.
They were definitely a good shout.
Yeah. Probably why we see two of them actually on the board. But I mean, you look at Nim. Nim is stacked to the eyeballs with upgrades there. So he's got plenty of things there to do. And will Nim be cheeky and get that point off of Vermeil? Just the one hit, not likely. There we go. Absolutely fine. Let's have a look. Who's next up then? And that's myself in barrage rockets into Nora. Gets a bit of damage in there. Good idea to at least shoot the barrage rockets off once, right? I think they are a great option on the K-Wing, especially with Perceptive Co-Pilot, that you only need the focus to shoot them. That's Rich coming back in onto the K-Wing with IGAC8C. Bet he wishes he had the double calculate right there. spending the target lock instead. Not bad, a lot of damage coming in there.
Good roll. Oof.
Yeah.
That isn't.
One of the downsides of the K-Wing, it's taken a lot of damage fairly quickly there. Right, so looking like... See if Quinn can get that point instead off of Emil, as no one seems to be able to get it so far. Emil does still have that evade though, which is going to make it tricky. Absolutely fine. But double tapping there because of B's ability and the sync laser cannons.
Oh, bad roll.
And still fine, spending the evade. Then I believe that leaves us with just Ben to shoot, as Jamie's not got a shot. And there we go, there's the point for Ben. So everyone has managed to score a point this round. Now, as mentioned earlier, normally we would play till the first player gets 6 points. Unfortunately, as this was the second Aces High of the night, we were very much running out of time. So we did have to call it a bit early. But in the end, the points as follows would be Madbots with Magva Yarrow on 7 points. Second place, we had Rich in the 88C. We had Nim and Nora, so Connor and Wes with 3 points. Jamie with Major Vermeil on 2 points. And once again, at the back of the pack, myself and Quinn with 1 point, joined by our small ship winner, Ben. But all in all, a really good game. Medium-based ships are hilarious for Aces High because they drop a bit quicker, but they can still hit fairly hard. But Amy, I hope that's given you a nice introduction to Aces High, and I do sincerely hope that you get a chance to play it at some point soon.
Thank you. Me too. I'm definitely going to have to try and get back to the studio and see if I can arrange a game at some point.
I mean, the thing is, you don't need to have 8 players to play Aces High. It's still just as fun with 4, 5, or 6, or even 7. But as long as you get a good group of players in, you can have a right laugh with it. And I would wholly suggest it to anyone who's interested in that. But Amy, again, thank you very much for joining us for commentary tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. And guys, again, thank you very much for watching. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. If you want to support us, the link for Patreon is down below. But in the meantime, guys, we will see you next time.